afternoon, everyone. This is the video presentation of Group 3. Leader, Lance Ivan P. Vildosola. Members, Cheska M. Alkis, Isabella Coril E. Saval, Jamil Annalise P. Luna, Mariah Piotr C. Cabase, Shahani Marie B. Rosales, Rochelle B. Sidano, and John David E. Sipada.
Today we will talk about the famous composers of the Renaissance period and one of their most famous composed music.
Pierre Delarue was born on 1452 at Tournai, Belgium, and he died on 20th November 1518 at Kortrijk, Belgium. Was a Franco-Flemish composer and singer of the Renaissance. His name also appears as Biachen or variants of Biachen, and his toponymic, when present, as various forms of the Pati, de Robore, or de Vico. Larue wrote masses, motets, magnificats, settings of the Lamentations, and chansons, a diverse range of compositions reflective of his status as the primary composer at one of the Europe's most renowned musical institutions. One of his famous compositions is O Soloratis Hostias, a song which is played during the Mass when the chalice and the host is raised to remember Christ Jesus.
Thomas Morley, from 1557 or 1558 to October 1602. He was an English composer, theorist, editor, and an organist of the Renaissance, and the foremost member of the English madrigal school. One of his famous composed music, April is in My Mistress's Face, was one of the best known and shortest of English madrigals. It was published in 1594 and appears to be based on an Italian text by Livio Siliano, set by Orazio Vecchi in 1587.
Claudio Giovanni Antonio Monteverde, born in May 15, 1567, and died on November 29, 1643. Claudio Monteverde was an Italian composer, string player, choir master, and a priest. He also did much to bring a modern secular spirit into church music. Monteverde was a precocious pupil, since he published several books of religious and secular music in his teens, all of them containing competent pieces in a manner not far from his master. L'Orfeo, sometimes called La Favola d'Orfeo, is a late Renaissance opera by Claudio Monteverde, with a libretto by Alessandro Striggio. Its first performance was in Mantua, Italy. Based on the Greek legend of Orpheus, and tells the story of his descent to Hades and his fruitless attempt to bring his dead bride. He died back to the living world. William Byrd. He was born on 1539 and he died on the 4th day of July 1623. He is called the father of music. He ranks among English musicians. His music was way religious in character but had a power and originality that raised it above existing church music. He wrote in many of the forms current in England at the time, including various styles of sacred and secular polyphony, keyboard, and concert music. Although he produced sacred music for Anglican services, sometime during the 1570s, he became a Roman Catholic and wrote a Catholic sacred music later in his life. The Mass for Four Voices is a choral mass setting by the English composer William Byrd. It was written around 1592 to 1593 during the reign of Queen Elizabeth I and is one of the three settings of the Mass Ordinary which he published in London in the early 1590s. It consists of the text of the Mass set for a four-part choir such as Kyrie, Gloria, Credo, Sanctus and Benedictus, and Agnus Dei.
Giovanni Gabrieli He was born on 1557 in Venice, Italy, and he died on the 12th of August, 1662. Gabrielli was an Italian composer and organist. He was one of the most influential musicians of his time and represents the culmination of the style of the Venetian school at the time of the shift from Renaissance to Baroque idioms. The most widely known of Gabrielli's work is the Sonata Piano-E-Forte, an 8-part composition for two 4-part groups of wind instruments included in the Surrey Symphony of 1597 with a number of instrumental canzoni for between 6 and 16 parts.
Orlando de Lassus was a composer of the late Renaissance, chief representative of the mature polyphonic style of the Franco-Flemish school, and considered to
be one of the three most famous and
influential musicians in Europe at the end of the 16th century. Psalmi Davides Penitentialis is a penitential psalm setting, written in the late 1550s, became famous enough to be distributed in deluxe editions during Lassus' lifetime. The excellent Philip Herigway presents them very persuasively, but gives us only 7 psalms, whereas Lassus provided a further 2 non-penitential works. To complete a wider scheme based on all the modes, a rival version from Henry's 8th and Hyperion includes them all, and at the cut price of 2 CDs for 1.
Giovanni Palestrina. Giovanni Pierluigi da Palestrina was an Italian composer of the Renaissance period. He was the most famous 16th century representative of the Roman school of musical composition. Palestrina was born in the town of Palestrina on February 3, 1525. When he was listed as a chorister at the Santa Maria Maggiore Basilica, Cathedral of the Diocese of Rome, he studied with Rubin Mariapert and Firmin Level. He spent most of his career in the city. Palestrina came of age as a musician under the influence of the Northern European style of polyphony.
One of his compositions is the Missa Papae Marcelli or Pope Marcellus Mass. The Pope Marcellus Mass is a Mass Nomini by Giovanni Pierluigi da Palestrina. It is his best-known Mass and is frequently taught in university courses in music. It was sung at the Papal Coronation Masses.
Josquin de Prez. He was a French composer of the Renaissance. He was the most famous European composer between Guillaume de Bay and Giovanni Pierluigi da Palestrina, and is usually considered to be the central figure of the Franco-Flemish school. Josquin is widely considered to be the first master of the high Renaissance style of polyphonic vocal music that was emerging during his lifetime. He composed the Missa Hercules dot Ferrarie, is a setting of the ordinary of the Mass composed by Josquin de Prez and dedicated to Ercole I d'Este, Duke of Ferrara. The musical source material for the Mass, the Cantus Firmus, is derived from the musical letters in the Duke's name, a technique called soggetto cavato.
That's the end of the presentation of the third group. Thank you.